Okay, so you guys have sent in some seriously interesting stuff about Diddy. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, a whole stack of YouTube transcripts and articles, and it seems like there's so much more to this music mogul.
Yeah, what's really fascinating is these aren't your typical PR pieces.
Yeah.
We're looking at like a YouTube video from a channel called Peeper.
Deeper.
Yeah, so we're getting a raw and unfiltered look and some pretty serious accusations against Diddy.
So this Peeper video dives into Diddy's relationships with Usher and Justin Bieber.
Right.
And it all starts with Usher, who actually lived with Diddy when he was a teenager, and he makes these super cryptic comments. Like, he keeps using the word curious to describe that time in his life.
It's like he's almost tiptoeing around something, you know?
Oh, totally.
Like he wants to say more, but he's holding back for some reason.
And then, bam, the video just drops this bombshell.
Yeah.
It claims that Diddy did something to Usher so bad that he ended up in the hospital.
And the source doesn't actually say what happened,
Right.
which honestly makes it even more unsettling.
Totally agree.
Like, if this is true, what could possibly be so serious that Usher is still hesitant to talk about it?
Even all these years later.
Yeah, like, it's like we're getting a glimpse of something potentially dark and disturbing, but we don't have the full picture.
And to add to that, the video brings up another alleged incident, this time at the Swiss hotel.
Oh, yeah?
Usher says he saw something inappropriate happen between Diddy and a woman, and wait for it, another young artist, Diddy took under his wing Justin Bieber.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Usher and Bieber were both at this Swiss hotel thing.
This is what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
we're starting to see a pattern emerge here.
For sure. And this is where the video takes a really disturbing turn.
Yeah.
It starts talking about Diddy grooming
Yeah.
both Usher and Justin Bieber.
Okay, so I think we need to be clear about what we mean by grooming, because that term gets thrown around a lot these days.
You're right. It's important to be precise.
Yeah.
Grooming isn't just about being nice to someone younger. It's a deliberate and calculated manipulation of trust, often with the intention of exploitation. And, it can be really difficult to prove legally, but the psychological impact on the victim can be devastating.
So basically, the video is suggesting that Diddy was using his position of power to manipulate these young artists for his own benefit.
That's exactly what they're suggesting. And they claimed that Usher was not only aware of this alleged grooming, but might have even played a role in introducing a young Bieber to Diddy's world.
Wow.
They point to this resurfaced video showing a 15-year-old Bieber spending 48 hours alone with Diddy. And let's just say some of Diddy's behavior in that footage is raising some serious questions.
I've seen those clips, and they are definitely eyebrow-raising, to say the least.
Yeah,
Especially in light of everything else we're learning.
right. The source is claiming that Usher, despite being a mentor figure to Bieber, may have known about Diddy's alleged intentions and still allowed that interaction to happen.
Which is seriously messed up.
It really makes you think about the responsibility adults have to protect young talent, especially in an industry known for its predatory behavior.
Heavy stuff.
It is, and unfortunately, it doesn't stop there.
Okay.
The source then shifts gears to Diddy's treatment of women.
Okay, so the video brings up a lawsuit filed by Cassie, who accused Diddy of physical abuse.
Right.
But what really got me was that Usher and Neo were allegedly present during this incident
Yeah.
and did nothing to intervene.
This is where the power dynamics really come into play.
It's crazy.
Usher and Neo, successful artists in their own right, allegedly witnessed this abuse and didn't step in. It's like everyone was afraid to challenge Diddy.
Yeah, it makes the whole situation even more disturbing. If even established artists felt powerless to speak up, what chance did a young, aspiring artist like Bieber have?
It's a great point. The source is painting a picture of a man who uses his power and influence to control those around him.
And frankly, it's pretty unsettling.
Yeah, and just when you think it can't get any creepier,
What?
the video shows a clip of Diddy kissing his own mother on the lips
Oh my God.
and then bragging about taking her to strip clubs.
Okay, that's just weird.
It definitely adds a strange and uncomfortable layer to the whole thing.
It's hard to ignore the implications, especially in the context of everything else.
Right, and then to make things even wilder, the video brings up Diddy's former associate, who goes by the name Gandil.
Gandil.
Yeah, and he claims he was fired because his mother was making advances on Diddy.
Seriously.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into this family dynamic that's totally dysfunctional.
Okay, this is a lot to process. We've got allegations of violence, potential grooming, inappropriate behavior, and a seriously messed up family situation. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, it's like we're putting together this puzzle,
Yeah,
and with each new piece, the picture becomes clearer.
right.
but also more disturbing.
Yeah, so we've got this whole collection of disturbing allegations against Diddy: violence, grooming, and inappropriate behavior. And let's not forget that seriously messy family situation.
Right.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that as of right now, these are just allegations. Diddy hasn't been charged with any crimes related to these specific incidents, but the sheer number and the consistency of these claims,
Yeah.
it really paints a troubling picture.
And the video ends with this pretty big question.
Yeah.
Like, how will all of this affect Diddy in the long run? Will his career and legacy be tarnished by these allegations?
That's the million-dollar question, right? We've seen other powerful figures in the entertainment industry face some serious consequences for their actions, especially in recent years.
You're right. The hashtag #MeToo movement has definitely changed the landscape.
For sure.
It's given victims a platform to share their stories and hold abusers accountable in ways we haven't seen before.
It's also shifted public perception.
Yeah.
There's less tolerance for this kind of behavior, and silence is no longer an option. People are demanding accountability.
But Diddy's empire is massive, huge. It's not just music, it's fashion, liquor, television, the whole nine yards.
Exactly. His influence extends far beyond the music industry, which just adds another layer of complexity to this whole situation.
So what do you think? Will his fans stay loyal? Will his business partners continue to work with him?
It's tough to say for sure. It really depends on how the public reacts to these allegations. Will they believe the accusers?
Right.
Will they demand accountability from Diddy and those around him?
You mentioned that Diddy hasn't been charged with any crimes.
Right.
But does that automatically mean he's innocent? How should we weigh these accusations against his public persona?
That's a great question, and it's one we all have to grapple with when these kinds of allegations surface legally. Someone is innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
But public perception often works a little differently.
Yeah.
We tend to form opinions based on the information we have, and sometimes that information is incomplete or even contradictory.
It's like trying to navigate a minefield. We don't want to rush to judgment, but we also can't ignore the potential harm that's been done.
Exactly. And I think this deep dive raises some important questions about the role of bystanders.
Totally.
Usher and Neo's alleged inaction in the face of Cassie's abuse is really disturbing. It underscores the power dynamics at play here.
It's a sobering reminder that we all have a responsibility to speak out against injustice and to protect those who are vulnerable.
For sure.
Silence can be just as damaging as the abuse itself.
Absolutely. It's easy to feel powerless in situations like this, especially when you're dealing with someone as powerful as Diddy.
Yeah.
But even small acts of resistance can make a difference.
So what can we as individuals do to make a difference? Where do we even begin? I feel like we just uncovered this whole hidden world behind the whole Diddy persona.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's built an empire on charisma success, but then you see these allegations and it paints such a different picture.
It really shows you the difference between public image and like the reality.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how these seemingly isolated incidents, when you put them all together, they might point to a much bigger pattern of behavior.
Right, and we started with Usher's cryptic comments, right?
Mm.
And then each allegation, like you said, is like a puzzle piece. It brought us closer to like understanding the complexity of Diddy's world. But what's really stayed with me is this question of bystander responsibility.
Oh, for sure. I think it's easy to get caught up in like the shocking details of the allegations. But the fact that people like Usher and Neo were allegedly there during some of this and didn't intervene, like, that really says something.
About the power dynamics, right?
That's it.
It's like he created this culture where people were just afraid to challenge him even when they witnessed something wrong.
Right.
And it makes me think, if even established artists felt that pressure, what chance did someone like Justin Bieber have?
What's a scary thought?
Yeah.
And it really highlights the responsibility we all have to speak up. You know, when we see injustice, even when it's uncomfortable or even risky.
Yeah. We can't just rely on other people to be the heroes. So
Exactly.
what can we do? I mean, this is Diddy we're talking about.
Right.
He's got money, power, influence. How do we as individuals make a difference?
It's easy to feel powerless when you're up against that. But I think it starts with awareness. Recognizing that these power dynamics exist everywhere, not just in the music industry. That's like the first step.
So educating ourselves, being informed in, media consumers, and being critical of the narratives we're being fed.
Absolutely. And it's about using our voices even in small ways.
Okay.
Supporting organizations that advocate for victims of abuse, calling out bad behavior when you see it, having those tough conversations with friends and family.
So it's like refusing to be a bystander, right?
Ex
Taking action, even in small ways, can create a ripple effect.
For sure. And remember this peeper video, while it's eye-opening,
Hmm.
it's just one perspective on a much larger story.
Right.
Who knows what other stories are out there,
Exactly.
waiting to be uncovered.
This deep dive isn't just about Diddy. It's about encouraging all of us to think critically about the information we consume,
Yeah.
to question our assumptions, and to be aware of the power dynamics that are literally shaping our world.
Yeah, it's about understanding that fame and fortune don't excuse bad behavior, and that we all have a role to play in creating a culture of accountability and respect.
Well, this deep dive has definitely given us a lot to think about.
For sure.
It's a good reminder that the stories we see in the headlines, they're often just the tip of the iceberg. There's always more to uncover, more to learn, and more to discuss.
And that's what makes it so interesting, right? We're
Yeah.
all on this journey of discovery together, constantly learning and evolving.
So keep asking those questions, keep digging deeper, and keep the conversation going. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.